Good morning, everyone.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a very special experience. My name is Sim.
My name is Rob.
And we want to take you through a beautiful piece of earth, Villa Krtajna. The word Krtajna is Sanskrit for gratitude, and the concept is represented in this beautiful villa that you're going to see. And Rob has spent a long time building in beautiful concepts that he brings from his past experiences with super yachts and eco-friendly living and married them together in a beautiful way. So let's go check this beautiful place out.
As we come down the entrance stairs, we walk into the central main atrium area. We've got 8.5 meters of height, where we create a central ventilation or vortex flow of air throughout the property. As you can probably see, we're standing over water. So this is a fully curated koi fish pond with living plants. And just to this side of me, we have probably one of the biggest copper walls in Bali, at least anyway. And that has an extraordinary healing and vibrational quality, which adds to the warmth and texture of the house. As we come through the atrium area, here we are on the beautiful terrace and swimming pool deck. We get to experience beautiful natural swimming pool, which is actually, the water is actually treated with silver and copper, which means that it's minimal chemical use, which adds to the extraordinary quality of the water as you swim. And then you'll see here that we actually have a beach entry. So we have a gentle slope into the deeper part of the pool, which is absolutely exquisite for children, for people that are fearful of water to experience, and for our lovely four-legged friends, our dogs. And then off to the side, we've actually put a quite a unique feature in that we have a ramp, which we go down into the swimming pool, which for my beautiful 82-year-old mother, she loves this and appreciates it so much because of ease of access. And again, it makes it accessible to people that have fear of water, to young kids, to old kids, and does away with the traditional stainless, typically rusting ladder, which we have on the side of the pool. This then leads to a sitting area over here, which has a whirlpool effect, which actually is one of my favorite places to sit in the house, as it actually gives us a view straight up this gorgeous river, which you'll see in a moment. And some of the special and unique aspects of the river are that we actually have this rapids, we have rocks, large stones and rocks, and of course we have this beautiful background music of the river in perpetual motion, whether it be day or night. Obviously, depending on the amount of rainfall, I can very easily hear and listen to nature because it's right at my fingertips. And then as we pan over this pool, we have it's an infinity edge pool, and then we have a lap pool, which is down below here, that actually serves two purposes. One of the things is we love to host our friends and family and my goddaughter here, and we wanted to make it kid safe, but without it being restrictive. So what actually happens, and we've actually proven this, is the kids play along this edge very beautifully, and should they accidentally fall or slip, they actually drop into the pool, and my goddaughter did that the other day and absolutely just laughed her head off. So it serves two purposes. It's beautiful as a lap pool, and it's actually part of the safety features of the house. In the other direction off the atrium, we come to the beautiful lounge, inside lounge and dining area and outside space as well. A couple of things to point out in this area is the height of the ceilings. So they're 3.3 meter ceilings, which allows for a very beautiful flow, cross-flow ventilation, which is part of the passive design feature of the house. We've got an inside area, as I said, we can sit. We've got fans in this area that are constantly on. We've got a beautiful sawa wood table here, which we can expand to seat up to about 12 people. And although I adore and I love inside, outside living, I always want to be able to close the space off if I need to. So we've got 3.3 meter frameless glass doors here, which slide, and this whole place is actually then enclosed and can be, and it really changes the feel. I have to say, it really changes the feel of the room, not in a bad or a good way, it just changes the feel. It becomes a lot more cozy and a lot more sort of contained, I guess would be the word. The reality is that I love outdoor living. So the only time that they actually get closed is through severe weather events. And over the last 2 years that I've lived in the house, that's probably happened probably 3 or 4 times. So the house is designed to be fairly weatherproof, let's say for about 90% of severe weather events. But it is really nice to be able to have the option to close those doors. We then flow from here to the outside living space with a glass roof, which in the afternoons, as the sun trajectory around 12 o'clock is directly overhead, on a cloudy day is quite delightful. But what's beautiful is in the afternoon, as the sun trajectory drops this way, this actually ends up with shade, and we've got the beautiful fan here. And I found a lot of people love to gravitate out here, fall asleep on the couch sometimes, been known to do that. And of course, you're, I don't know, 3 steps from the swimming pool. So this is all weatherproof cushions, weatherproof foam in the cushions. So there's no issue in terms of dry, wet. It's a house for living. So as a part of the lounge dining area, we actually include the kitchen. So this is the main part of the kitchen. We've got a beautiful granite bench here. We've got a central island with the tap, and in this particular tap, the water that's actually coming out, would you believe, is totally drinkable. So we have a full filtration system within the house, which actually means that all the taps inside the house, you can actually safely drink the water from. I'll expand more on that later. We've got the cooking station here, and then as the chefs are preparing the food, the organics go into an easy to access organic waste unit that we then carry out about 3 or 4 steps only to our composting area. So in here we basically create compost, which of course is essential to life, because that's how we continue to grow soil, which is key to our existence on this planet. So this is kind of where I start to, I guess, talk about the integration of the house, which is a big cement house in total luxury, but we blur the lines between that sustainability, that mindfulness, that consciousness, and how can we live in relative or beautiful comfort, but actually do something that matters and makes a difference and reduces, let's say, for example, our electricity demand or our water demand and around growing food. So as we flow through here, from that compost area, we actually have a garden bed where the chefs prepare the food, and we literally throw seeds into the garden bed. And as they sprout, we then replant those throughout the property. That's actually watered with recycled water, which we'll go and have a look at in a little bit. So there's a full stainless steel prep kitchen area. And then we come through here into the staff area. Obviously there's a bathroom, and then they have a workstation. They have an area where they can rest. And this is the laundry. And one of the things I really want to point out is, as an aspect of conscious living, is the quality and the finish and all the products that we have used in the staff area is exactly the same as the rest of the house. You know, human to human. So they deserve the respect, the love, the the relationship with the house and the quality of the materials and the way it's laid out. So there's an area for them to work. There's an area for them to rest. We've got a beautiful open area where they do the washing and the laundry, complete with a drying area. All aspects to make their life easier to do the job that we request of them. And we're extraordinarily blessed to have them in our lives living in Bali. So coming into Krtajna, you flow into the garage area, just here in front of me. And along the way, we've actually got a waste separation or resource separation station. So we've got organics and inorganics, and that's actually a composting service that picks up organics and takes it up to the Jiwa community garden. How about that? Just happened to have the t-shirt on. From there, as we go under the trellis where we're growing passion fruit, we come into the garage area. We've got the ability to close off the garage area with this wooden gate system. And when you come back from the beach and you're sandy and salty and you want to rinse off your feet, you can certainly do that. Or if you're like me and you have a dog, then you've got a hose here and you can hose the dog off or have a shower. And by the way, that's all drinking water, just so you know. Storage racks, so surfboards if that's your thing, bike area, fit 2 cars comfortably in here, more storage area, small workshop area where we keep a few spares and bits and pieces, and if you're have a place to exercise your hobby. Then in here is the central area for the electrical distribution, which comes from the grid. And a couple of other features here is, in behind this box here is a network switch. So the house is fully cabled, so each of the rooms has network ports with a couple of strategic Wi-Fi points. So that was again, which speaks to that conscious living aspect. So we don't blanket the house in Wi-Fi, nor do we have Wi-Fi signal easily accessible in the bedrooms. So that's part of our strategic plan. Then as we come through here, just things like there's places to put your helmets, places to put your hats, your coats, your leashes, helmets, stuff like that. And then coming down here, we're going to come back into the kitchen area, and actually underneath the floor here is the wastewater management system, which I'll expand on a little bit further. Welcome to the basement level. So yes, we are down underneath the ground, and we'll come into what is affectionately known as the MEP room. If you're wondering what MEP stands for, it's mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. So what we've done is we've centralized all the systems in one location. It's very efficient, it's a great use of time, it's functional, and it's easy to maintain. So as we enter the space, this is the swimming pool system, where we have 2 pump systems. So we have a backup system integrated in already. We have what's called an ionizer. So we actually have a low chemical pool. So we sterilize the water with silver and copper. And the feedback is people love swimming in our pool. It's not a natural pool, but it's as close as you can using that technology. Then around here, we've got something called a heat pump. Hot water system. What it actually does is it takes the heat from the ambient space, the space we're in now, and actually converts it into hot water. So we have about 300 litres, 350 litres I believe in this tank, and the net result, or the effect of that, is coming out this side is the equivalent of about 18 degree or cold air, almost like aircon. So what actually happens is this space is actually controlled. The environment is controlled from humidity, from moisture, and temperature controlled. So all the equipment is protected and easy to maintain, and reduces the amount of maintenance and problems that we have with the system. As we then move over to this area, actually in and behind this wall is actually about 40,000 litres of rainwater tank. So we capture the rain from the roof and we drop it down into this tank. And we've done a calculation that over a normal year of rainwater, we can capture up to a total of somewhere over 400,000 litres of water in one annual rainfall period. Why is that important? Basically, Bali is drying up. With all the development, all these new villas, all these mammoth hotels, and with very little care and attention to water, it's interesting, people think of Bali as this wet nation, that we're in the tropics, this big rainfall downpours, but it's very inefficient, the use of the water. And with this rapid expansion and growth, my desire, our desire is that, that people take a little bit more care when they're considering their water systems by using rainwater from the roof. We then can top up that water in the dry season from the deep well, which I'm happy to say we don't use a lot of. We then run that through a couple of filters here, one to make the water soft, which does two things. One, those of us with the long hair, not me, love, because you actually have soft water to wash your hair in. And the second thing is, of course, you avoid this buildup of this calcium and limescale, that whitish deposits around the taps, which not only looks bad, it actually is detrimental and damages the mechanical parts of the pumps and the taps in the house. Then here is the heart of the system, in that this is what you call a UF filtration system. This is what actually makes all the water inside the house drinking water quality. And we take that water and we put it in some tanks, and then we have some pumps which we distribute it around the house in. So we maintain a constant pressure throughout the house, whether you have one tap on, 10 taps on. This system is all automatic, and depending on the demand, one or two pumps will start up. The way I like to describe this system to people is this. So, isn't it interesting that I think we all agree that the skin is the biggest organ of the body? That we take a shower in Bali in water that is not drinking water quality. And then we go over and take a plastic bottle and drink water from. So one of the extraordinary benefits of this house is that from every tap, literally in this house, inside the house, we have drinking water quality. So you're bathing, you're showering, you're washing your hands and drinking water quality. The other thing that we do with the water is all that water that we utilize, actually we treat inside the house. We have something called a vermiseptic system, which is a natural filtration system, which creates its own biology or microbiome. And then through that, we run that through the garden and we actually capture that water. And then we recycle that water. And if you look up here, for example, you can see the color difference. And here we have green piping, which designates that piping contains recycled water. What for? For the gardens. So we have automatic irrigation system, we have manual irrigation system, and of course we have hand watering. So effectively what we've created is a circular system. So we've captured it from the rain, we've filtered it to drinking water quality, we then run it through our recycling system, and we put it back into the garden. So a circular system, so little or low impact water system technology in this home. Over there, as I spoke about before, a low chemical system for the pool, which again enhances lifestyle and health and vitality. Over there we have the hot water system, which is effectively scavenging the heat. We live in a hot environment. It's taking that heat, putting it in the water, and as a byproduct, we're getting a nice, cooler conditioned space to maintain our systems. One of the things I get asked about, is this a difficult or a complicated system to maintain. No, it's not. Very simply, once a month, we do minimal maintenance. Obviously I've got reputable firms that are used for the major servicing, and then the in-house staff here are able to maintain and look after the monthly simple maintenance items. Okay, as we leave the MEP room, I've actually built a service tunnel. So as you can see, we have very easy maintenance and access to a lot of the systems, the valves, the pipe work in this space. The quality of the workmanship and the layout, I always get very positive comments about. And this is actually a fully designed and functional fish pond filtration system. So we basically have the water coming down here, and then we run this through a series of filter beds. Actually under this filter material, we actually use oyster shells, which have a quality which is adds to the health and vitality of the fish. So as we run through this system, here we have the final tank, which obviously gives us clean and filtered water, which we then add aeration and UV and pump it back up to our fish. As we continue on in the tunnel area, and we arrive at the sound dome. So we've got about a 6 metre diameter sound dome. Welcome to the sound dome. So what we've got here is about 6.5 metre diameter by about 4 metre high sound dome, which is finished in terrazzo, a white terrazzo finish. On the floor, we've got a gorgeous mandala, which was created by our friend and painstakingly replicated by one of the local craftsmen, which adds to the ambience and the beauty of the space. The sound dome, I think we can all agree that we are vibration, we're all connected by vibration. So what this is and what this can be and does is that it's a place where you can use for a variety of different activities. For example, it's a wonderful meditative space. By the same token, it's got a speaker system. You can turn it up and dance to your favourite beats, whatever that may be, and immerse yourself in your own vibratory experience. We have held breathwork workshops in here. We've done sound healing, sound journeys. It's a beautiful space for that, and we also quite often set up a table, and if you've got a visiting therapist, it's a wonderful place and such a healing and calming space to experience all of that. I'll just give you a quick demonstration. So continuing on from the sensory experience of the dome, we've created another aspect of that, which is the steam room. So we've got a 2 by 2 metre steam room here where you can fit up to 4 people. I personally love to be in here and leave the lights off, so it becomes a darker space, and we can control the temperature and the timing through here. We've got a shower that you can easily rinse yourself off in between sessions. And then coming over here, there's actually a soaking tub. Now we can fill that with essential oils, with flower petals at the temperature that you want. This is an amazing way to prepare yourself for whatever treatment or what you want to receive in the dome. So for example, it being a massage or whatever other treatment or sensory journey that you're looking for. This is a beautiful way to land in the space. As I said, this is subterranean, This whole space is about 6 to 7 metres under the ground. If your jam is to get cold, immerse yourself in cold, obviously you can put blocks of ice and or, which we've done before, in this space here. And then as we come back out of that particular space, we end up back in this area here, and then we've got an open area once again, which is a great space to either do some self-practice, whether it be traditional yoga type practice, or whether you're into more athletic type practices. We've got a huge space here that's available for that. And there's the stairway to heaven. Okay, so as we leave the lounge dining kitchen area, we transition up the beautiful floating stairs to the second level, and we arrive basically at the atrium space with a beautiful glass roof. This is about 8.5 metres in total length, and with the louvers and the glass roof, which is actually about 30 centimetres off the actual structure, we create this beautiful breeze. So there's always a constant breeze that flows in this area, and has this part of the passive design features. We have privacy yet cross-flow ventilation by having this type of wooden batten system. We've got another bedroom here which is fully convertible, so we can convert that bed into a lounge. Obviously there's a massage table here. All of that can be put away or reconfigured. And then, for example, behind here, we actually have a space which can actually be converted. It's a storage space now. It can be converted into a workstation. Fans throughout all the rooms. They're very low energy use fans. So we constantly leave the fans on, so we have a ventilation throughout the house. This is a shared bathroom area. Obviously we have the requisite shower and a gorgeous soaking tub. It's a beautiful place to sit, meditate, contemplate, and as we're in Bali, we've got this exquisite view of the rice paddies in the distance through their various stages of rice production. As we transition from the bathroom, we continue along the open walkway, and we have, well, what I affectionately call my office. It has been also called a man cave as well, but it's my office, a generous, extraordinary size sofa, which could double for a bed in an emergency or certainly a children's bedroom. And then more of this stunning view of Bali and the rice paddies. One of the special and unique features is the inclusion of water on this second level. So what we're actually looking at now is this is actually roof of a completely separate entrance for a 2-bedroom loft studio apartment. It's got river frontage, a private entrance, and it has a loft bedroom and a second room with a rooftop, which can be used for either as an office, which it's currently set up, or it can be converted into a bedroom. A gorgeous, beautiful private space, which again speaks to this notion of low impact. What I mean by that is the income flow from that effectively covers the living costs of the home, so there's very little to no impact, for example, in terms of financial impact. The other feature that we can see here is the roof, by having water, has an insulative quality, so the room below is always cool. It has a, what I would say, a meditative quality, because of course you've got this beautiful reflection of the pool. You have a deck there, which we've used for stargazing, for meditation, for yoga, sitting out there on a beautiful day. And it has the provision to put an umbrella there, so obviously you could sit out there and utilize that space as well. And as you walk over there, you're actually walking across this area of water. Now, as we look around the front edge of the house on this level, we actually have about 1.2 meters of water, which then spills over and returns back. All of this water returns back to the swimming pool. So we've got this ambient noise of a waterfall, and we also have the beautiful quality of running water, coupled with the fact that as the breeze comes over this water, it has an evaporative effect, so it has a cooling effect. Speaking again to this passive design aspect of the house. So each side of the room is open, so we have a cross-flow ventilation effect. This part of the house is more industrial type design. So we do have open ceilings here where you can see the quality and the standard of the finish of the houses. As I said, the fans are low energy. So basically it has a lot more fans than what I would say typically a house of this size and type would normally have. It would traditionally have a lot more air conditioners and a few fans, where I've actually gone the other way around. So we actually have undersized air conditioning in each of the bedrooms, and an oversupply, not even an oversupply, an abundance of fans, which we run constantly all the time. Over here is a workstation, and as I mentioned previously, this is all network cabled in with hidden cables and so on. Obviously it can be reconfigured to your requirements. We've got the sofa for lounging, chilling, sleeping and or watching, and a decent size 65-inch, if I'm not mistaken, flat screen television to complete this space. The other feature of this level is it actually has two entrances. So we actually have the ability to open up this end of the veranda, and if you were to conduct, let's say, business, then you actually have a separate entrance, so you could greet clients up here and bring them comfortably and privately into your workspace area here. Again, two reasons. One, as I said, comfort, and the second one is safety. You have two exit strategies if there is some sort of emergency situation. So following on from the copper conversation, copper thread, if you will, we've got beautiful copper lampshades throughout the house, following the copper theme through that warmth and the healing qualities and the vibrational qualities. All the way then from there we transition out to our roof garden, which is on this level. Then as we go from there, we come into the master bedroom level, where we have a continuation of that, the roof garden, where we grow a variety of different either medicinal or food plants, all the way through from spinach to moringa, one of the local healing superfoods, through to a lime tree in our version of a herb spiral. The master bedroom features, once again, crossflow ventilation, a beautiful sitting contemplation area, which can be used as a separate space for a couple. If you're in let's say a reading mood and your partner wants to sleep. The other feature is it has two totally separate bathrooms. So this one, let's just say, more inclined to the male side. We have a generous amount, but a limited amount of storage space, and a pretty extraordinary and expansive rainwater shower system, which then looks once again beautifully out to the rice paddies of Bali. And a lot of care and attention again to ventilation and airflow, again to reduce mold and potential mold toxicity and mustiness of clothes, and obviously the sickness that comes along with that. This gives us a beautiful aspect of the Infinity Edge pool system as it transitions over to the roof. And once again, as I said, all this water is actually mixed and joins in the main swimming pool to be sterilized, to be treated, and then distributed around the house. actually quite a relatively simple system and absolutely beautiful and always moving. So always interesting to look at. For her, for the woman, we've got this expansive, beautiful bathroom area. Again, a bespoke shower system there with a gorgeous view and plants, an abundance of fans, let's say, and then a beautiful, light, airy closet and hanging space for her clothes. So leaving the master bedroom and the rooftop garden, we've got a set of stairs that actually allows us to actually access the rooftop area. What I would characterize as a place that we don't really use, although it's such an expansive place it could be. A couple of things to point out here. As I talked about, there is the atrium, the glass atrium roof, as I said, which allows the airflow. Off in the area over here, which you'll see shortly, is 12 kilowatts of solar power, which through a beautiful sunny day like today, more than adequately fulfills our energy needs. And in fact, in Bali, they have something called the net metering system. So we sell back 65%, or should I say, we sell back the excess power at the rate of 65% of the unit cost, which I'm told, comparative to the world, is quite generous. It makes quite a significant change to the total power bill here in Bali. Once again, you've got a huge couple of 100-metre square space, which is our rainwater catchment area. And so effectively what happens is the rainwater drops through the volcanic rock here and then drops into the, it's called geotextile, and then into the drain system, which then goes into our tank. So once again, we capture rain, we pre-filter it, if you will, it goes into the tanks there. We've got the solar system up here. We've got the passive ventilation throughout the house. We have some automatic irrigation systems currently, which water the gardens that are up at this level as well. And certainly it's a beautiful space, once again, to highlight and look out over the beautiful Bali nature rice paddy areas. As I mentioned previously, we recycle all the wastewater in the house. So the grey and the black water and the kitchen water. We're actually standing on the system that does that. It's called a vermiseptic system, so it's completely natural. There's no artificial chemicals. It's basically created by biology, you know, our own biology and food waste and obviously human waste. It then comes from this system and enters into the garden. So the path we're actually taking is underneath this garden. There's actually a gravel garden system, and the water travels underneath this garden and not only gets cleaned because the plants actually draw the nutrients out of the wastewater, and so that leads us to being able to grow abundant and healthy and vibrant plants, which we have a combination of medicinal plants like sambiloto, tulsi, curry leaf, for example, all the way through to our giant papaya tree, which bears beautiful fruit, through to a bintang plant, which has extraordinary healing qualities using the Bali traditional medicine. We have moringa, one of life's superfoods. As we move closer and closer to the river, we have chilies, ginger plant, and over and down beside the river we have singkong, taro, moringa, pumpkin, lemongrass, whatever works in the shaded and the more sunny areas. So there's been a degree of experimentation in terms of what thrives and what grows in certain areas. And then all of that water is filtered by these plants and actually ends up behind me or below me here in this outside area where we capture about 40,000 litres of that treated or wastewater, which then we have an automatic irrigation system. We have hand watering. We also have a way that we spray that into our composting system. So it's a completely circular system when we look at how the house has evolved and what the house is and how it operates. I really talk about it in terms of low impact. It's low impact in respect to there's low energy consumption, there's low water usage, there's low chemical usage, there's low waste or resource expenditure. Financially, with the input from the other loft, there's low, for example, expenditure, financial expenditure. So it's really a model of how you could live in a beautiful, comfortable, gorgeous, spectacular luxury home, but do it in a more conscious way, just using less of those elements. And our passion and our commitment and our goal and the inspiration is that I've shown this house around to so many people is that it inspires people to maybe just look at one aspect of what we've done here. And it might be because of financial constraints. Well, not everything costs a lot of money. It just requires a commitment and thought and seeking out people that want to help. And I feel that there is a growing movement around people that want to help and live in this more sustainable, conscious way. Thank you very much.
So hopefully now you have seen the beauty and the care of this beautiful space and how all the little things and the big things that are incorporated into the space that have been thought about with a lot of love and care. Mm-hmm. And hopefully through this process, we were able to help you understand even half of what is possible. Because this is such a beautiful representation of the fact that living in a conscious way does not mean you sacrifice luxury, and living in a luxurious way does not mean that you destroy the earth. Okay? The incorporation of those two things together is really important to us because we want this to be possible for everybody. You know, not every single concept, but there are concepts here that we want to make sure are made accessible because somebody has done the work. Thank you, Rob, and many other Robs that have done the work ahead of time, have done the thought, that have the knowledge, that have the understanding to marry these things together. So that process of bringing these concepts and many other beautiful concepts of this marriage of consciousness and high quality lifestyle is what we're going to bring into a concept that is called Sumati concept. So this is a concept that's being developed that is the marriage of eco-conscious, conscious, luxury, lifestyle, and spirit, all into one. You know, and I know we had this conversation around around how there's heart and there's soul incorporated into the space. So I just want to hear a little bit more about like you know your vision and what brought you to this point, and you know.
Yeah, thanks, Sim. To follow on from that, I mean, I have an engineering background, so I'm passionate about design and how things work. And from an early age, I pulled things apart to try and work out how they worked. And then I worked in the marine sector for a lot of years. So what I've come to learn is that I'm also very good at design. And through a personal journey, I discovered that I also was very interested in how can I do things differently and not follow the tried and true pattern of life. And that led me to Bali, and that led me to the principles of living in Bali and thinking of different ways that I could be and live and continue to live in Bali. One of the things that becomes very apparent Again, if you raise that conscious and become aware of it, is that not only worldwide, but more specifically where in Bali, is the demand on the resources here, on the water, on the power, there specifically things, on the traffic system, because they need to transport food from various parts of Bali. So what this is my interpretation and my gift back to Bali and to mankind and womankind of what that looks like. And what that looks like was around passive design, which in and of itself means there is less demand of natural resources already in the design. And then active parts of that design we touched on earlier, the solar aspect of that. And most of my power bill is covered by that. Not all of it, I could add, and I can scale that if I want to. Water, most of my water is captured by rainwater, but we do top it up from the deep well. So, however, we use very efficient faucets and tapware, so we don't actually use much water. So these are the attention to detail, and sadly from my experience of building here in Bali and watching people build, there is very little care or attention paid towards those things. And so, you know, between that, I did a permaculture course about 4 or 5 years ago, and it really highlighted how extraordinary Mother Earth is, and will continue to be, with or without us here. And how can I incorporate more of what I learned around using permaculture principles, which is caring for the earth, caring for people, and creating abundance. So I guess what I'm saying in the Indonesian word, campur, it's a mix of everything. It's a mix of a mix of all of that. Yeah. It's a mix of all of those aspects which this house represents. Now, as Sim alluded to, you can do all of it, you can do some of it, you can scale it down, you can scale it up. I mean, this is a big house, so what can you do? My wish for people that see this, that feel inspired by this, is to do something, don't do nothing. By clever design, with very little to no additional cost, you can incorporate a lot of this. Some of it, yes. For example, the initial cost of a solar system, yes, it's going to cost you money for that initial investment. But I'll give you an example. In Bali, just recently, last month, the power company, the PLN, raised the prices here 18%. High probability that's going to occur on a 1 to 2 year basis. So we're talking about a system here that will pay for itself in 4 years. I am saying 4, not 14 or 24. So it's pretty extraordinary. So these are all worth careful consideration. And so, you know, my invitation to you is to have a think, look at the box, say, I'm not choosing that, I'm choosing something else. I'm not choosing to live in a mud brick home. I'm choosing to live in a grand luxury home. I'm choosing to live in a modest home, but how can I do that in a more conscious and less impactful way, wherever you are in the world, and for me, here in Bali.
So that's beautiful. You said a few points out there that I really want to touch on. One is that, you know, we come from this Western world where we think concrete buildings is what we come from. Therefore, the new paradigm is us going and living in mud brick homes, right? A lot of people have that concept. They think like, oh, if I'm living in a forest in a mud brick home, that's the only way to live in harmony with nature, which hopefully this is breaking that kind of conceptualization and showing you how other things are possible. The second thing that you said that really was important for me is everybody's just doing because that's the way to do it, right? Up until now, I mean, 50 years ago, it was a different way to do it. Mm-hmm. Asbestos was put into the walls. Then we realized that's horrible. And then we made a new way to do it. And now everybody's just doing it because that's the way to do it. So if there's one change that I want to leave in this world, it's building a new paradigm that's a new way to do it, right? And the reason why everybody doesn't do it in this way is because they don't have the skill set, they don't have the knowledge, and they don't have the appetite for risk to go out there and go to uncharted waters themselves. And you know, the beautiful thing with this is your understanding of all of these different aspects, the understanding of luxury, of design, of engineering, of eco principles, of permaculture, all of that brought together in this way. We're going to extract or distill from this process and then offer it to people and say, look, did you know you can do it like this? And then actually it saves you money on electricity. Actually, it grows food for you. Actually, there's all these benefits, and somebody's already done it. So it is a new way to do it. And now we're going to incorporate this into Samadhi concept and the other constructions that we do to then create the new way to do it. And then we're going to take those resources and give them to people and say, look, we'll give you this expertise. As a matter of fact, here's a whole system that clarifies how to do it. And here's the people who've already built it. And if you'd like some support in the process, please do it, because this is how, by the time our next generation, my kids' generation comes around, that'll just be the way that they do it. And they won't know any different way. So one point that I really would love for you to extrapolate is we've spoken about 3 Hita Karana. And I just love the energy of that concept. But if you can please extrapolate on that and how it's incorporated into the space.
Absolutely. So I built this project with my builder and my closest Balinese friend, Brother Gedeg, and he's a beautiful Balinese man in his mid-30s. He's actually a trained architect as well as an incredible builder with an incredible building team. And so it was as a result of collaborating with him, I sketched out my vision and my dream, and he drew it. Is very similar to the permaculture principles. So, you basically swap the word abundance for in service of God. So it's care for the earth, care for people, and in service to God. So, but if we take those principles, they're all actually infused in this house. Number one is literally the energy in this house. This is a young Balinese man. We are guests in his country. We are blessed enough to be able to choose to live in Bali. He's here. And it was from his soul and from his journey and from his spiritual practice this was born. Did this inspire him? Yes, it inspired him. He's just gone on to open a cafe which is inspired by this, which has its own garden, which they grow food from and then serve to people. So is he inspired? Yes. So he's inspired by this. So many people come here and they're inspired, whether they be first time to Bali, long-term residents, professionals, real estate agents, developers, builders. They're inspired by this. And so I didn't build it with that intention, but we evolved and it expanded to that. And I've shown and hosted so many people throughout this building, throughout this home, throughout this beautiful space in all of its different levels, in the wish and the hope that they do something, as I talked about before. So 3 Hita Karana, we're in Bali. This is at one with Bali. This is with nature. And this is my gift for the time that I'm in Bali, which is for the rest of my life.
So this is great. This is actually, energy and change and impact is infectious. Okay, it's infectious because the moment you feel it, the moment you feel the space and you go, wow, oh my God, wow, okay, wow, oh, you just did that, oh, wow, that's so genius. Like somebody like Bali Gedeg, would then go take it away and then interpret in his own way, and then he'll do it, and then somebody will come to the cafe and go, this is amazing. Oh, you have this, or you have that, or you have that, this is amazing. They take it to Sweden and they do it there, and there's this infectious nature, and it spreads way faster than you think, because it's the wonder of just somebody introducing you to the possibility. I'm a firm believer in, like, if you don't believe something can happen, it will never happen. But the moment you believe that it's possible, it'll just happen. Yeah. And especially if there's the right energy, if there's the right excitement behind it. And that's one of the reasons, if you're watching this from the Prep family, that's one of the reasons why we want to do this, so that you could really understand the possibility of what exists out there. And again, all levels of it. If you're somebody like, I just love a mud brick house. Hey, I was born in a mud brick house. I have never been as wealthy as I was in the mud brick house. So nothing wrong with that. But if you're somebody who's like, well, I just want this, I want a 1-bedroom, small place. That's my little, my little place to do my thing. Okay, then you can incorporate some of this stuff. If you're somebody who's like, look, I want to, I've worked hard over my life and I want to build a beautiful place like this, great. Well, Samadhi Concept is going to scale to giant co-living, co-working communities with hundreds of rooms, with massive gardens. They're going to be self-sustainable mini cities, effectively, ships, let's call them. They're the ships of relationships. So any part of that, or any part of that spectrum can have these things incorporated, but all we have to believe is that it's possible, right? And this is just the beginning. The kind of technologies that are coming out, the fact that we could connect Web3 and blockchain to this, and the food that's being grown here, if it's not being used, could go to your neighbor, and your neighbor could benefit from it. And they would get high quality food at pennies on the dollar, and this garden would make pennies for the villa. And so there's these revenue models that we can incorporate into this process that will make it so that the conscious living and luxury and doing good for the world will not be mutually exclusive. They will be synergistic. Because we believe that it is possible.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. So we're not gonna go on for too long. If you have something to add, please feel free.
A couple of things we inspire each other, as you kind of gathered by our enthusiasm. A couple of things I want to talk about. Lastly, is this is a large cement structure. I've recently been, as a result of building this house, it's incredible the energy and the conversations it attracts and the doors that it's opened. So I've begun conversations with some people around some alternative type of building materials. I often get asked, guess what's next? Is more of this. Will it look like this? No. The systematic approach and the efficiencies that we've created in this house, yes. They work really well. So why reinvent the wheel? When there's new technology, of course we'll embrace new technology, but not technology for technology's sake, right? So the systematic approach will still be the same. The execution may look different. It may be with a different material. We're in Bali. Bamboo, for example, is a very common building material here. So I think Sim touched on it beautifully when he said, what do you want to build? And then we plug the systems in. And we do it in a certain way that is conducive to the environment. So it ends up being passive by its very nature. So we actually don't need to plug too much into it. And lastly, just on the food point, was the aspect of which is beautiful. And we have seasonal vegetables here, whether it be eggplant, for example. We grow spinach on walls and stuff. And I don't know how many times we've got bags and bags of food. Not only do they go up to a kitchen, a volunteer kitchen, we give it away. I often give it to the staff. They pick it and it's on the bench. They say, "Pa, do you want these 20 eggplants?" And I don't. And so they take it to their village, they use it themselves and they gift it. So, in this concept that Sim's talking about, the point is create abundance. You've got land, you've got resources, we're joining together to create this. We've got more resources than those around us in terms of the ability to scale or create or grow food. So not only do we teach them, we share with them what we've learnt and the abundance that we've created through that environment. So once again, thanks guys for joining me on the tour of Krtajna. And if some of you are interested to know what that means, it means gratitude, which is something I feel every day living here.
And honestly, we have so much gratitude for you. Thank you, first of all, just for being you, right? Because what we need are energies and special souls that are driven by these beautiful concepts. And they're not just driven by it, they do something about it. They don't just sit back. They actually take action that creates an infectious change. And by the time we leave this beautiful little pearl that we have, hopefully that energy has translated across the board. And that and we're gonna do it 100%, right? Because the future generations they're energized by this, and they'll take this mantle and run with it. So thank you all for joining. Hopefully we'll see you soon. Much love, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful, beautiful evening. and we're gonna hang out in Krtajna here. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thanks,
Much
guys.
love.